advice that I would give to sister missionaries who are headed to Oaxaca or southern Mexico is make sure that you bring a rain jacket because it can pour. There was a few times when me and my companion put plastic bags on our heads and on our bodies just to try to keep, and on our bags just to try to keep everything from not getting wet. It rains, and it rains hard in all of Oaxaca, but specifically in the Istmo, but really everywhere. And when it rains, it pours, and the streets sometimes become like rivers. You are walking through rivers as you go down the street. So I would say bring boots, rain boots that are comfortable for walking in, and or at least bring money to buy some when you're there. And then also, yeah, bring a good rain jacket because you're going to need it. I was not prepared, and I think it says that in the packet, but follow that instruction because it's so important. Also, something that I feel like it didn't say in the packet that is needed in Oaxaca is you need to bring your own bedding. So bring your own sheets and things like that, because that's needed. I don't know if all missions need that, but in Oaxaca you do. So bring a pillowcase and bring sheets. I would say don't bring too much clothes, really. It's not worth it. Packing so much and paying like tons of extra money to have an extra suitcase, it becomes a hassle in the mission if you're transferring, especially in Oaxaca where you have to transfer, like there's an 8-hour drive to get to your next area in a bus. You don't want to be at the bus stop or bus station with all of your, with extra suitcases. It just becomes a huge hassle. So pack light. You can always buy things when you're there. If you need an extra blouse or if you need a new skirt, they're inexpensive and there's a lot of them there. Buy things that aren't super heavy because it's hot. It will get super hot. It rains a lot and it gets hot. And if you're wearing something that's thick, you don't want to be wet in that and you don't want to be sweating in that. So buy lightweight stuff to bring with you. Oftentimes there's wind, so I would encourage maybe bringing some lighter weight flowing skirts, but also bring some that are good for the wind so nothing blows up. And in the Oaxaca mission, it's actually acceptable now to wear pants in certain areas for girls. So for sister missionaries, I would encourage to bring maybe even just one. I didn't have any, but I borrowed my companion's once. But it's good to have because there's a lot of mosquitoes. So bring bug repellent too, and make sure you can get it there. But yeah, if you can, bring bug repellent because that's always needed. You are always going to need bug repellent and sunscreen. If you use sunscreen, make sure to bring it because you can also get burnt. Safety things, just don't wear a lot of big jewelry, even if it's pretty. You don't, when you're a missionary in Oaxaca, in Mexico, you don't have to be gorgeous and wear lots of jewelry and lots of makeup because it's just going to fall off anyway and your hair's going to get all messy anyway. Try to look nice, obviously, but wearing high quality clothes is kind of something that can last, but something that's simple is best. Also, because you don't want to look too incredibly wealthy when you're around a bunch of poor people who don't have very much, because it's hard for them to relate to you if they think that you're a lot higher class than they are. And it's good to just be simple and always remember to be humble in every situation. As far as safety goes, just stay in areas that you know are safe. If you're going to start looking for new areas or going kind of out of your normal area, make sure that you have enough time and that you don't get there when it's starting to get dark, because you don't want to be lost when it's dark. That's not a good situation to be in. Make sure your phone is always charged. So if you do get lost, then there's always a bishop to call or always somebody to call. And like I said, the members are super, super helpful and super loving, so there will always be someone who can help you out. So yeah, always make sure your phone's charged and stay in areas that are light and that aren't scary. If you feel like you need to go to an area that's new or different or maybe a little bit less desirable or scarier than a normal place, make sure that you're following the Spirit.
My brother actually served in Costa Rica, and so I thought, that's kind of close. Tell me what you know. But he's an elder. He was an elder, so he didn't really get it. We have different ideas of hygiene sometimes than elders do, and different needs monthly, obviously. And you're going to wash by hand. Every Monday, you wash your clothes by hand. I only knew a couple sisters' houses that had washing machines, or some members that allowed you to wash in their washing machine. There really aren't any. You'll wash your clothes by hand and hang it to dry. So I know sisters want to look absolutely gorgeous and beautiful for their pictures that they send home, and just to be comely and beautiful, and you can be, but get durable and just durable fabrics and things that aren't going to bleed because they'll fade, because you have to hang it out to dry in the sun, and you'll be wearing it in the sun all day. You'll be wearing these things in the rain. It doesn't matter if you wear a poncho. It doesn't matter if you wear a raincoat. You will get wet. Your hair, don't bring a straightener. Don't bring a curler. You can't. It's too humid. Like, it won't. My hair was so huge, but you learn to braid it, or you learn to put it up or something, and you just wear it like the natives do, and you get through it. Lots of girls, this might sound hard, like this sounds worse than it is, but hair fell out, like not like chunks or anything, but I don't know if there was something in the water or if it was just stress. Lots of girls felt like they lost a lot of hair. Obviously, you can't tell with me. I think I did too. I think it thinned a little bit, but it's okay. Everybody's hair is fine now. I went to the conference center last night for an activity, and I saw some returned missionaries, especially one who was like, my hair is falling out. I used to have so much hair, and she looks gorgeous. She's totally fine now. Like, it'll come back, don't worry. I got a parasite on my mission. I think it came from eating uncooked, like undercooked chicken. I'm not positive. I just remember a certain meal. It's like burned into my brain that I was like, I don't know. But I wasn't brave enough to say, hey, can you cook this a little bit more? And I asked somebody later, and they said it would have been fine. It wouldn't have offended them, and it would have been better than to get a parasite for 3 months, you know? And so I lost a lot of weight with that parasite. But Heavenly Father really helped me out. And there's medicine that you can take, and I did. And then it was gone, and I was fine. And I have no lasting effects. They don't have too many, this is weird, but they don't have too many tampons down there. It's kind of in their culture. It's something that they believe is chaste not to have. So it's really interesting. You can find them, but your companions might question you a little bit. It's interesting, but you can get them. It's fine. I use them because it's a lot easier because you're sweating a lot, and so it's a little more hygienic, especially with garments. I don't know if I should even say that on camera, but showers, it's cold water unless you decide to heat up buckets. Some houses I had to shower, like bathe from a bucket, and they'll have like heating coils that you plug into the wall and put it in the bucket so it'll heat up, because there are cold areas, and they'll have that, or something you hook onto your shower head that'll heat the water. But lots of times I just took cold showers because it got so hot. I didn't really want hot showers. And sometimes we even showered right before we went to bed, because I would wake up just covered in sweat. And it sounds bad, but it's actually really fun. Like, if you kind of think that you're camping for a long time, it'd be okay. You'll wash the food with a cleaning solution or a couple drops of bleach, like especially vegetables and fruits, to make sure, because people touch them and they get fertilized, and they don't wash them before they sell it to you, so you make sure you do that. Carry hand sanitizer with you. It's good. Wash your hands often. You're stronger than you think you are. There's lots of hills, and it's hot. It gets so hot, and there's so much humidity, especially around Easter. They call it the Semana Santa, and they're like, it's so hot, and they'll tell you as you come, especially if you're new, and they'll over-exaggerate it, I think, but you can do it. Just drink a lot of water. I drink like 4 liters of water a day when I was the healthiest, and if you go to the doctor and you say you're sick, he'll tell you to drink more water. But it's true. If you drink so much water, like everywhere you go, asking for water. It's a great way to get into houses, which, by the way, we don't knock doors in Mexico. You can't. It's against the rules. We don't knock. We just contact in the street and get referrals. So if you ask for water, they'll give it to you because they're all so hospitable. And then you can talk to them, and you'll stay hydrated. Because they'll also give you a filter, which is a really, really good filter actually, and in a bottle. But it's hard. Lots of girls don't carry it around because you're walking all day. You don't have a car. There's some public transportation, but you get a very limited amount of money to take the buses and things like that. So you'll be walking a lot. We were allowed to use hats sometimes, but people thought we were other missionaries from other denominations. So I often didn't use that. Lots of girls would use their umbrellas, but same thing. They thought that we were other missionaries from different denominations and just talked to us that way. And so it confused people. So I decided not to do that. So I used a lot of sunscreen because I did get really bad burns when I didn't, especially on the back of my neck. I just blistered. It was horrible. And so it's kind of a question whether you want to wear your hair up or your hair down, because whenever I wore my hair down, it protected my skin. But if I was so hot, like so hot. But if I wore my hair up, I'd get the air and everything, but I'd get burned if I didn't keep my sunscreen on. Bring it from the States if you can, sunscreen, because the sunscreen down there, it doesn't get up to like 100 SPF. It doesn't, like, you can get it, but it's really expensive and it doesn't last for too long, and it kind of clogs your pores. So my mom always sent me like Neutrogena sunscreen that's like 100 SPF, and everybody made fun of me, but it was better than getting burned. At night, there are quite a few drunk people, and all day there's quite a few drunk men who just are around, and you'll get to know them in your area. You'll know which ones are the drunk men or the people who drink. And but I've never had anything really happen. I mean, there were times that they would say things and it would feel scary, but I was never harmed on my mission. And I know it's from obedience. I know it is. That was in my setting apart blessing. There's just precautions you take. You know, you don't get close to them, even if you feel like you want to help, because they obviously have problems. They're not in a position to talk to you, and they'll tell you things as a sister missionary, especially if you have light eyes, like blue or green or light brown. They'll pick you out in a second, or white skin, and they'll call you güera, like it means white girl, all the time. You'll get it all the time, but it's all okay, and just ignore them. Just keep walking. Don't get mad at it because it's not going to change. It offended me at first when people would say things to me about me being an American, and they'd be like, I'll make myself Mormon if you go out with me, things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. I just want to teach the gospel. But you just laugh with your companion and keep walking, and it's fine. Really, everything can be kind of funny if you choose to make it funny. One more thing. Long skirts. Just overdo it. Like, I know that they said that we can wear it to cover our knees at any time, the back and the front, but wear longer ones because sometimes you have to sit on the floor or on buckets when you teach people. And it's really uncomfortable to try to sit down in a pencil skirt that's long enough, but and not tight, but it's just awkward. I went to a thrift store and bought a bunch of old grandma skirts. It was nice to have big pockets because I could keep my agenda in there, my phone in there, a pencil, stickers for the kids, like just anything I really needed, or a few pesos, to catch the bus really quick. Some pass along cards. Just, you want the pockets, and like, it was really funny because everybody was jealous. But they have a lot of thrift stores in Tapachula, especially in Tuxtla. They do everywhere. They have lots of thrift stores that gets clothes from the United States, so you can find long modest dresses and long skirts. And we're also a big example for the girls down there. I noticed that the young women would follow. I mean, it was really funny. They would start wearing what the sister missionaries would be wearing. They would start doing their hair like the sister missionaries did their hair. It was really cool. Like, it was like having it, just your actions speak louder than your words. So you're going to look pretty you can do your hair. Your makeup will melt off in the humidity in many places. Obviously, like in Tuxtla in the winter, or in Comitán, or in San Cristobal, you can wear your makeup and it won't melt off so much, and you're going to want to wear it for zone meetings and things with the president and on Sundays. But often I just didn't. I might put on some mascara and go so they wouldn't think I was like dead or something. But the humidity just like melts it all off. But the girls follow your example. If you over, not like to the extreme of modesty, but if you get the skirts down to your calves, if you wear your sleeves obviously long enough, they will follow your example and you make a huge difference. It's really cool because because it's so hot down there, there's lots of like cutting corners on the the strength of youth pamphlet a little bit. But if you do it right, you'll see a difference in the word, and it's really fun to see. Get cotton things. Your garments need to be the dry lux. Don't bring the polyester ones, like the tight ones. My mom calls them the bike shorts, but because you'll get boils. They'll rub against your skin. You'll get a rash. So don't. Even if you like them, even if you feel like it makes you like it works better with your clothes, don't do that. It'll really harm your skin. You'll hurt. I remember I had one pair and it was like bad. It already like rubbed with it already chafed with like other ones too, but the dry looks is better because it dries faster. It's not so bad for the humidity. You can wear long sleeves. It'll help you with the sun, but just make sure it's like loose. I wore this on purpose because this like looseness will help you stay cool. And then if you get it down to your wrist, like you won't burn there and it won't be hot. It'll be hot, but it won't be as bad. Just don't get polyester. Don't bring anything polyester ever. Don't. Just don't. Also, you want comfy shoes. You're walking everywhere. Like bring really good shoes. Bring a couple pairs. You're going to want rain boots. It rains everywhere. There's going to be times where it's going to be above your rain boots, so you're going to want other plastic shoes. You can get those in Chiapas really well. They have, like 50 pesos shoes, but you're not going to want to wear them everywhere because they don't have good support. But when it's in the rainy season, like, you need plastic because it'll dry faster after it rains, and it will help your feet not have problems, because if you're in your leather shoes or any other shoes, they'll deteriorate and your feet will have problems. So, but then you want good leather, clunky, just typical Sister Missionary shoes that may not be so pretty, but really, really comfortable because you're going to be walking everywhere. Just something really durable. And then maybe something pretty for zone conferences and stuff. But just make sure your feet are comfortable because you're going to be walking everywhere.
So buy short sleeve shirts is the first thing I would say. Like, make sure that you get those, and make sure like you don't want to layer. So you want to make sure that they're solid and like there's no way you're gonna have to wear an undershirt with that, because you're gonna sweat a ton, and you're sweating day in and day out. You're sweating while you're sleeping. You want to make sure that you have short sleeve shirts that are comfortable, and that are going to be durable as well. You don't need to be cute, I guess. Like, lots of times, at least before my mission, you would see those pictures of the sister missionaries, and they always looked like perfect and beautiful hair and everything. Like, it doesn't happen. Just make sure that you have clothing that is comfortable and professional at the same time, and that will last. Shoes, I think, would be the biggest thing. I think I went through 6 pair of shoes on my mission, because it gets so hot that the pavement starts burning through the soles of your shoes. You can feel the heat of the pavement through your shoes, and then you have these holes in your shoes all the time. So we found some good ones at the end. I don't remember what they're called. If I do, I will let you guys know. But you just want to make sure that you have strong, durable shoes as well. Again, don't be stylish. If you want like 1 pair of nice shoes for conferences or something with your mission president, I would say that's the best thing to do. But don't use them a lot. You don't even have to wear them to church, because right after church you're going to go out and you're going to proselyte some more. There's really no need for that. Bring a light rain jacket.
You don't want something heavy because that's going to be more hot, because the rains there don't cool things down. It makes it more humid. So a light rain jacket. I wouldn't say buy like waterproof shoes, but maybe rain boots that you can put over your shoes, or just some plastic sheer thing that you can put over your shoes to protect them. And then don't get a flimsy umbrella, those ones that like you just pop up, because the winds blow really, really hard and it's just gonna break the umbrella. So get a sturdy umbrella as well that you can carry around and things will be good. So, nothing dangerous per se, like that you hear about Mexico, happened while I was there to me. But I think that's because we followed the mission handbook about safety in walking. Walk quickly and with purpose. Make eye contact with people. Show them that you're going somewhere, and just make sure you're actually like talking to people on the street, because that I think is actually safest. When people know who you are. Change up your route going back home. I mean, in the mission handbook it says like don't let anyone know where you live. It's kind of impossible in these areas. Everyone knows where the missionaries live, everyone, members, non-members. But just make sure that you get in and out of your house when you want to and when you're supposed to. There are some traditions. I guess this is a tradition in Mina that is kind of dangerous. They have something called El Viejo. And so you have Christmas, and then the next week before New Year's, they have these men dressed up as women going around dancing, and they have bands. And they are not afraid to touch women. And so when you hear the music, you will hear the drumming. You run to a member's house. You get into a member's house and you stay there until the drumming's passed. And then you just, during that time, you just walk quickly to and from wherever you're going, because you don't want to get into that awkward situation. They do just sometimes barge into people's houses, but when they're in someone's house, they don't usually touch. So, but on the street, be careful. It's dangerous that time. And then listen to your mission president's rules. Christmas, New Year's, you have to be in it by a certain time. They always give those rules. The members want to make you stay out later because they want to give you all your food. But make sure you're in there, especially, again, in Mina, they have El Viejo, and what they do with that is they make this doll, a personage doll, and they put like snap, those fireworks that you just throw on the ground. I don't know what they're called. They put a bunch of those inside of them, and it's made out of a bunch of cloth and all these things that can burn really easily. And then they light it on fire at New Year's, and it burns for like 6 hours. So you don't get to sleep that much that night, but just make sure you're inside before that happens. It's kind of dangerous. So I feel like as sisters, we don't want to offend people. We want to love everyone and be kind to everyone. And that's a wonderful gift and skill I think sisters have. But I also sometimes think it can be used as our downfall. I know lots of times I'll run into returned sister missionaries who had something that they should have told their companion. And because they didn't, this stress and this angst and this anger kind of just built up with them until they had transfers and they didn't have to be with that companion anymore. So thankfully, during weekly planning, you get a time called companionship inventory. Use that time wisely is what I would say. Use a compliment sandwich if you have to. Just say something wonderful about your companion and then say something that could be fixed. Don't blame them. Don't ever blame, because that's wrong. But say like, hey, use iMessages is I guess what I'm trying to say. This is something that I've noticed. It hurts me when this happens. I was wondering if we can improve in this. And then compliment her again, because there's something wonderful about every single one of your companions that you're going to find. And if you don't talk about the little things that might be harming your companionship, that's going to harm your whole relationship, and then it's going to harm the work that you're doing in that area. And then members notice is what I guess is the biggest thing. Members notice when the missionaries aren't getting along. They don't bring things up because members don't do that. They'll gossip about it with the next missionaries that come in and talk about what happened, but make sure that you are talking to your companion so that things aren't noticed in the ward and that there's not that problem, because you want to make sure that there's all the harmony and you're not going to offend anyone, really. You might be afraid that you're going to offend your companion by saying something, but I guess the part is, like, everyone knows that there's something going on and they're just afraid to say it, so just make sure that you're the one that's honest and things are going to turn out okay.
Just a bit of advice for sister missionaries. I was a sister missionary, as you can tell. So, a little bit of advice for sister missionaries. Just do what you're supposed to do. Be obedient. They're amazing people. They love and they will respect you. They will shout at you in the streets and say, "Ay, guapa," which means, like, you know, beautiful, like, not even beautiful, like, pretty. And, I don't know. One time I got shouted at and they said, like, teach me about Joseph Smith. Like, if you look like that, I want to learn about Joseph Smith. And they'll call you güera, which means white girl, which actually isn't, like, offensive there, so don't get offended. They might call you gordita, which means, like, little fat girl, but also not offensive there. Gordo or gorda is a term of endearment. Like, that's what husbands call their wives and wives call their husbands. Ay, gorda. Ay, gordo, which means fat, like fatty. Entonces, like, then, I mean, it's just kind of strange, no, for us, but that's something just a little bit, like, about the culture also, not just for sister missionaries, but that's a little bit about the culture. But just be careful, like, sister missionaries, just be careful, and missionaries in general, like, just be careful, keep an eye out, you know what you're doing, listen to the Spirit, don't do things that you're not supposed to. But that's really it. I mean, just like how it says, you know, stay in lighted paths and just follow the rules. That's all I can tell you. Don't do things you're not supposed to. Listen to the Spirit. That's the only way to go. Listen to the Spirit. Just so you know, a little bit before, it rains a lot in Mexico, so really do buy rain boots. It rains a ton in Puebla. Buy rain boots because you'll need it. It rains all through July. It's supposed to start in August, but it really starts, like, in July, and it rains all July, and then sometimes it stops in September for, like, it'll rain in September, it'll stop in October and November, and then maybe it'll rain in December a little bit too. So just be careful. Bring rain boots.
Make sure you bring a lot of shirts and skirts and everything that your mission packet says. Especially if you're going to this mission, I would recommend getting a really good rain jacket because it'll rain all the time, and it'll just come out of nowhere. So bring an umbrella and a raincoat. And if you can, get, like, a waterproof bag or the most waterproof bag you can. I had a waterproof bag, but it rained so much that sometimes if you were out for hours, it would seep in, but not as bad as some of the other missionaries' bags, which were a little less water resistant. So otherwise you'll have to, like, dry out your scriptures. You don't want them to get wet, and it ruins some materials. So if you can, get a waterproof bag, or when you're on the mission, we would just bring, like, grocery bags, and if it started raining, we'd put all of our stuff in a grocery bag and tie it up and then put it in our bag, and it protected it a little bit more, which was good. And like I said, it rains a lot, so you'll want to bring some, like, water shoes to just switch into instead of using your normal support shoes. You know, you want good walking shoes that are appropriate for being in missionary dress. But it'd be nice. It's nice to have like some water shoes that are small enough you could just bring in your bag and slip on if you need. I think that really helped me a lot because it did rain quite a bit in the areas that I was in. So didn't ruin as many shoes because I use these water rubber shoes. So I recommend bringing those. And some other like packing advice, definitely you will tend to pack more than you really need, and realize that you can get stuff on your mission. So you don't need to bring 2 years worth of toothpaste or something like that. But bring what you need to that you won't be able to get while you're in Mexico or on your mission. Personal items, things that would help you teach your own scriptures, appropriate clothing, because the clothing is hard to find, especially long enough skirts and coats and stuff like that. In Mexico, they don't really sell very many coats because it's not really cold. So you'll want to get a rain jacket probably here and bring it on your mission with you. And yeah, that's what I would recommend. So this area of Mexico is really safe compared to maybe the northern part, but so you don't need to feel like in danger. There's really not very many dangerous neighborhoods at all, and your mission president will always, put the sisters where they can be safe. So there are a lot of we would pass a lot of drunks on the side of the road, and they might call out to you, especially if you're from a different country, because you're different. So my advice is just to be kind. They're really not gonna do anything to harm you, most likely. So just be aware and be safe. Walk with your companion and stay in lighted areas at night. But I wouldn't kind of like engage other people, but if they talk to you, you can be polite and kind and offer to come back another day, and then you'll be safe, and that's the best thing for both parties. So